Right now, on to the point. 6 Nevada County avalanche victims just identified. Families describing them as mothers, their bodies still on the mountain tonight.
With the snow and road closures, it's impacted residents and even businesses here in the Pollock Pines area. Here they're pleased to tourists and the CHP.
Taxing billionaires, Bernie Sanders takes his message to California, why Governor Newsom is against it. In our Champions of Hope,
never forget, never repeat.
One man's mission to preserve a dark chapter in American history. We start with breaking news in the deadly Nevada County avalanche. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Becca Hobbiger. We now know the names of 6 of the 9 victims. Take a look. These are the 6 names just released: Carrie Atkin, Liz Claybaugh, Danielle Keatley, Kate Morse, Caroline Sakar, and Kate Vitt. The families released a joint statement tonight saying, in part, our focus right now is supporting our children through this incredible tragedy and honoring the lives of these extraordinary women. They were all mothers, wives, and friends, all of whom connected through the love of the outdoors. They were passionate, skilled skiers who cherished time together in the mountains. They lived in the Bay Area, to the point.
Idaho,
6
and
Nevada
the Truckee
County
Tahoe
avalanche
region.
victims just identified. Families describing them as mothers, their bodies.
The avalanche happened Tuesday in a remote area near Castle Peak. This is north of Donner Summit. A group of 11 skiers and 4 guides were coming back from a 3-day trip in the backcountry. Cal OSHA now says they are investigating the guide company for any workplace violations. And recovery efforts for the 9 victims of Tuesday's deadly avalanche are now paused due to hazardous condition. We want to show you some video of the conditions that they have been facing this week. The Nevada County Sheriff's Office said the victims cannot be safely extracted from the mountain. The recovery effort is expected to carry into the weekend. Officials say it is the deadliest avalanche in the U.S. in nearly 50 years. Tonight, the U.S. Forest Service says all national forest lands and trails in the Castle Peak area are closed for public and first responder safety and to provide for the recovery of the victims. The public are prohibited from entering the closure area during search and rescue operations. And new tonight, the town of Truckee is now planning to hold a community vigil this weekend. It will be held this Sunday at 6 p.m. at the Eagle statue in downtown Truckee. All are welcome and encouraged to bring a candle. Governor Newsom also spoke about the tragedy today while in the Bay Area.
It's tragic. It's the most devastating avalanche in terms of loss of life we've ever experienced. And these were some experienced guides that were out there, and that's what's even more concerning and disturbing about this. But just our hearts go out to those that lost their lives.
The governor also advised people to be very mindful of the conditions when traveling to the Sierra and to take advisories seriously. Well, the storm is bringing snow to lower elevations. This is what it looked like in Auburn this morning. Snow coming down to elevations near 1,000 feet.
My phone kept alerting me that there was like a winter storm coming, but I was like, yeah, okay, I'm probably fine because I live on this side of Auburn and usually we don't get snow, so I didn't really worry about it. And I live only like right down the street, like 5 minutes from here, so I don't know. It caught me off guard.
The last time the city got significant snowfall was more than 2 years ago. Residents and business owners in Pollock Pines now are urging travelers and tourists to stay home this winter storm. The travel delays are having big impacts on locals. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is in Placerville with a look at current conditions and what people who live in the area have been enduring the past few days.
You know, Placerville saw all types of weather today. This morning we saw thick fog, and earlier this afternoon we saw hail, but the situation was much different up in Pollock Pines where they got a lot of snow. And we spoke with the business owner who says that this storm has really impacted their business and how they travel in and out of that area. That's why they're urging and hoping people will think twice before they travel in this storm. The 50 Grand Restaurant and Bar in Pollock Pines is normally open on Thursdays, but that's not the case today.
Our staff is unable to get out of their house. They're seeing 3-4 feet of snow. The roads are unclear.
Jim and Kim McCarthy are the owners and say this storm has caused major issues on how they get to and from work from their home in Camino. To make matters worse, tourists and visitors have added to the travel delays.
You're on vacation, but people live here.
The restaurant sits right on Pony Express Trail, and the couple says it's become a side access road for visitors who don't want to travel on the impacted Highway 50. This video shows a line of cars parked along Pony Express Trail.
That's the bane of all of our existence up here. People are following their GPS, but the GPS is not saying don't go down that side road.
Leading the couple to wonder why CHP isn't stopping traffic from coming into areas like Pollock Pines during a major storm. The couple says that could help residents avoid delays traveling to and from work.
Why are they not being stopped in Placerville then, where there are grocery stores and it's a bigger town?
CHP's Valley Division says there has to be a good reason to completely close the roads.
It has to be like snow, weather conditions, something's got to happen for us to be able to close the road.
Adding that residents are able to bypass any closures with proof of residency.
If you live within an area where there's a closure, then there are CHP checkpoints that are set in place, and we do not let anybody go past that point. But however, if you reside there, if your residence is there, you just be prepared to show proper identification.
In the meantime, 50 Grand Restaurant and Bar will remain closed, and the McCarthys say they'll welcome visitors once the storm passes.
We just don't want them coming up during the winter storm. Give us a chance to clear the area so you can park in front of our place.
Of course, CHP encourages people to stay home during this storm, but if you do happen to be out on the roads, CHP says to stay on the main highway and to not exit onto any of those side roads, even if your GPS tells you to. In Placerville, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
For more updates on the latest weather conditions where you live during this weather impact alert, be sure to download the free ABC 10 TV streaming app. You can also watch extended weather coverage there. Still ahead on To The Point, Senator Bernie Sanders takes his billionaire tax campaign on the road and is making stops in California. His message of support for a one-time wealth tax and the pushback from Governor Newsom. And a new way to save for your child's future is here. It's called the Trump account. What you need to know and how much your child could potentially save.
We are tracking the last bits of this storm that has moved through much of the region, how long it lingers, and what's next with our cold weather alerts.
But first, in other headlines tonight, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, was arrested today. It was on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Investigators previously said they were assessing evidence related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. His brother, King Charles, stripped him of the royal title due to his connections to the late convicted sex offender. Mountbatten Windsor has denied any and all wrongdoing in his dealings with Epstein. The U.S. military could be ready to strike Iran as soon as this weekend. That's according to sources familiar with a White House briefing. National security officials reportedly met Wednesday in the White House Situation Room to discuss possible military action. Air and naval assets have been building up in the Middle East in recent days. Trump has hinted at a desire for a regime change and has insisted Iran not obtain a nuclear weapon. However, he has not said what precisely his objectives would be in ordering an attack. California Senator Alex Padilla will deliver the Democratic response to President Trump's State of the Union address in Spanish. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger, the state's first female governor, will also give the Democratic response. Trump's State of the Union is scheduled for this coming Tuesday. This just in from CHP. I-80 is now closed in both directions over Donner Summit. They say it is due to downed trees and power lines. Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods joins us now. Monica, it has been days of these kinds of closures.
Yeah, that is dangerous stuff up there, especially when you have power lines that are causing those closures up there along I-80. The snow actually starting to wind down there. As you can see, it's just very spotty along I-80. This is not the widespread heavy stuff that we were seeing just 24 hours ago. On Highway 50, we are seeing some moderate snow, but even that is starting to lower its pace and scale of what we've been seeing with accumulation. As we travel our way southward, 88 still seeing areas of snow, that being true as well along Highway 4, 108 as well as 120. So it's been a rough go of it here throughout the foothills and the Sierra. Many people still without power, potentially out for days, if not about a week before they can get that going. And as Becca was mentioning, we got power lines down now on 80. Winter storm warning and winter weather advisory in place until 10 o'clock tonight. Not a ton of additional accumulation, but in the background of this, got to keep in mind that there's lingering impacts. Trees coming down, power lines coming down, plus our avalanche warning continues through tomorrow. At least it may actually be extended until they can really test the vulnerability of those slabs of snow that have basically been building for about the past past 4 days or so. These snowfall totals don't even account for what we saw today. This is only since 6 a.m. 6 to 8 plus feet of snow have fallen from this storm cycle. It's been both hazardous and beneficial. Again, December, January, dry months for us. Now we're really starting to see some gains come in for February. We actually had one of the monitoring sites down, so the totals are likely a little bit higher than what we're showing even right there. Highs for today, 40s and 50s through the valley, 30s and 40s in the foothills, 20 up top for the Sierra. And as far as conditions right now, it's still snowing for Lake Tahoe at 20 degrees. Dry conditions and quick cooling tonight. For the valley, we're in the 40s and 50s right now, but we get to freezing low temperatures tonight and again for tomorrow night into early Saturday morning. Sunday and next week, we start to see the next band of rain approaching. Short-term forecast, freeze warning in effect from midnight to 9 a.m. We're talking lows in the 20s and 30s. Cold weather advisory throughout the valley as well. This is going to impact people, pets, and plants. Bring everything inside if you can, or just cover some of that precious vegetation. As far as our next weather system, that is on the approach for Sunday. Then it kind of starts to scale back ever so slightly and then really starts to show a better band of rain moving in by late Monday. So some timing still needs to be dealt with as far as the timing duration of that next storm. Highs for tomorrow in the 30s for the Sierra after morning lows in the single digits. We get to the coast, our highs are in the 50s, but again, we start off close to 30 tomorrow morning, 20s and 30s throughout the valley tomorrow morning with highs warming into the 50s, putting us close to 10 degrees cooler than average. It's a quick turnaround, though. Next week's storm, a warmer one. We're going to bump those snow levels up to about 7,000 to 8,000 feet. As far as the forecast, though, we still have that weather impact alert to look forward to next week. In the short-term forecast, it's all about the freezing conditions coming our way tonight through early tomorrow.
All right, Monica, thanks so much. Well, a new type of account could help families kickstart their kids' savings. When we come back, we'll explain who qualifies, how to apply, and the free money your child could get. And later, our Champions of Hope, the mission to turn one of the last Japanese-American internment camp buildings in California into a historic park, keeping alive the memory and lessons of this dark chapter in American history. U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders will make a stop in the Bay Area tomorrow. He plans to take his billionaire tax campaign to Stanford University. Representative Ro Khanna will join him. Sanders was in Los Angeles last night to rally support. Frontline healthcare workers and other supporters joined him. The proposal would impose a one-time wealth tax on California billionaires. Supporters say the tax could raise as much as $100 billion to offset potential federal healthcare cuts. Sanders argues it's time for the ultra-rich to pay more.
Never before in American history have we seen the outrageous level of income and wealth inequality we see today.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing back on the proposal, saying the initiative will drive away the wealth and businesses that keep the state economy strong.
The impact of a one-time tax does not solve an ongoing structural challenge. You would have a windfall one time, and then over the years, you would see a significant reduction in taxes because taxpayers will move.
The billionaire tax proposal in California needs nearly 900,000 signatures to qualify for the state ballot. Many warn the measure is already driving some of the state's wealthiest residents to leave. One of those opposed is Congressman Kevin Kiley. This week, he introduced the Keep Jobs in California Act of 2026. The legislation aims to ban any state from imposing a retroactive tax on the assets of individuals who no longer live in the state. The bill will be officially introduced on Friday. Well, there has been a lot of attention around the new Trump account. An ad for them even ran during the Super Bowl. If you don't already know, starting a Trump account can help families start to build a savings for their children's future. Here's Ivan Rodriguez with what parents need to know about these accounts.
This year, families will have one more option to help support their children's financial futures. It's called the 530A account, better known as a Trump account. To qualify, a child has to be under the age of 18 at the end of the year in which the account is open for them. They also must be a U.S. citizen and have a valid Social Security account. The first step for many parents begins this tax season.
File Form 45 47 on their taxes when they filed this year. That is going to basically tell the IRS that you plan to or want to open this account.
Eligible kids born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 are then expected to receive a one-time contribution of $1,000 from the federal government.
$1,000 over 18 years could easily grow to $3,000 or $4,000.
And if your child isn't born in that time frame,
millions of other children are eligible to open Trump accounts and can get all sorts of free money potentially in forms of contributions from sources other than their families.
Family, friends, employers, states, nonprofit organizations, and philanthropists can all make contributions to an account. However, family and employer contributions combined may not exceed $5,000 a year for a single account. That limit is subject to change in 2027 based on cost of living.
I think so much of the discussion is should I do a Trump account or a 529 plan or a trust account? I think the right answer is both.
Coming up next, the last surviving Japanese American internment camp building in Stockton and the push to make it a historic park, keeping the lessons of this dark chapter in history alive. From neighbors helping neighbors to inspiring acts of kindness, each week we bring you a champion of hope. Today, we're marking Japanese Internment Remembrance Day, also known as the Day of Remembrance. 84 years ago today, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the executive order that led to the forced relocation and incarceration of some 120,000 Japanese Americans during World War II. We introduce you to a man working to preserve an important piece of that American history in Stockton.
Japan's bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, provoked America's entry into World War II. It also sparked a wave of anti-Japanese prejudice across the country, so extreme that President Franklin D. Roosevelt ordered Japanese Americans into internment camps, approximately 120,000 Japanese Americans, about two-thirds of whom were American-born citizens.
Never forget, never repeat.
Jim Tabuchi's elders were forced into the camps. We spoke with him at the California Museum.
So this is a 48-star flag that's here, and this is signed by those who were incarcerated during World War II.
Including his mother.
Alice Nakao Tabuchi. She was in Tule Lake from 1942 to 1946.
While she was up by the Oregon state line, his father, aunts, and grandparents were incarcerated at the Stockton Assembly Center in the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds, where this one building is all that physically remains of the original camp. You can see it today just inside Gate 5 of the fairgrounds.
And if you were to look at all of the confinement sites across the U.S., there are very few buildings that are left.
Tabuchi is chair of Okage-sama, a nonprofit operating under the San Joaquin County Historical Museum.
Called ourselves Okage-sama because in Japanese, Okage-sama literally means thank you. It's thank you, thanks to you, thanks to our elders. And what we realize as a group is that we would not be who we are had it not been for what our elders had gone through.
Okage-sama is working to turn this remaining building into a Japanese-American interpretive center,
which would be an opportunity for people to come into this building and actually feel like they're in a Japanese-American concentration camp.
He's talking with lawmakers about getting a funding bill to restore the building and turn the site into a California State Historic Park to make it accessible to many.
And if you were to draw a radius 100 miles around that assembly center, our estimation is that there's about 13 million people that live there.
His mission feels urgent, he says.
We have to keep this story alive so that we do not repeat this, right? This injustice that happened to Japanese Americans could very easily happen to other Americans.
The last of the Japanese internment camps closed in March of 1946, a little over 4 years after FDR's executive order. To learn more about Okage-sama, we have a link at our website. Just visit abc10.com/links. Well, thank you so much for watching and inviting us into your home. If you have something you think we should be looking into, or you have a champion of hope you'd like to nominate, please reach out to us. You can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. And To the Point doesn't end here. To watch stories featured on the show, you can download our free ABC 10 streaming app to your TV. Have a great and safe night. We'll see you back here tomorrow.